Okay.
You hold the record.
Learn and learn and learn.
You hold the record.
But this one, in this book, I showed you the picture. This was in the Deutschlandhalle years ago. I think in the 80s it had to be. And there we had a short date. And yes, it's a pity that we met twice at the Haus des Rundfunks, at my radio station. It's a pity we are not there, because for me you are Mr. Paternoster.
I don't know what that means.
This is this lift that is turning round and round.
Oh, that lift.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the radio station.
Yeah.
I love that lift. I've talked about that lift many times.
I know. For the second time when you were there, the first thing you said, "Where is it?" I said, "What is it?" About what he's talking. So, but first of all, everything's fine, because we heard things in the past that you had problems. It's okay.
Do you mean Edmonton? That was the silliest thing ever. I had the flu 2 shows before. Yeah. I went on Edmonton, was on for about an hour and 45 minutes, hit a high note, got dizzy, said I was going to sit down, and I fainted. I got to the hospital, and all it was, after them running all these tests, was dehydration from having the flu.
Everything all right?
So it was nothing major.
Okay.
What's major is the pinched nerve in my back.
Yeah.
That's major.
We don't talk about this. And the best thing we hold in hands, there's something new. And there are a few things that are really good.
There's more than a few. Jimmy, and I'm quoting Jimmy, this is the best record we've ever done. And I know all those people out there that own Bat Out of Hell go, oh no, Bat Out of Hell is, nobody can touch Bat Out of Hell. And I want them to go back to October of 1977 when Bat Out of Hell first came out and remember how much they hated the record. They may love it now.
It's a long story.
But when it first came out, everyone hated it. And they forget that part. I don't. I don't forget that part. But Jimmy thinks this is and we did this was very contemplated. And how we approached it and how we did it and how we didn't want it to be like a Bat Out of Hell or a Bat Out of Hell 2. How I use my low voice in places. Well, one, I use my low voice in places because the girls' parts were so high that they couldn't sing any higher. We couldn't find anybody to sing any higher. Mm-hmm. Maybe an opera singer, but you couldn't understand the words. But Carla is singing so high on Going All the Way. And then Stacey Michelle on Loving You's a Dirty Job, I raised that 3 steps from the original, and she's at the top of her range. I was up 4, and she said, I can't sing it. So we brought it down a step. But we did this album, the way it's done is on purpose. It's very calculated. To the point of, we knew we were going to do Who Needs the Young. We probably had 50 songs after that that Jimmy has sitting around to choose from. And both of us chose these. 3 of them he wrote when he was 19 years old. The very first one.
Range.
The first one, and Speaking in Tongues, he finished about a week before the album was finished. So we go from 19 to he's 68. So 19, Who Needs the Young, And that was supposed to be on Battle to Hell, but vinyl, people have short memories. Vinyl, if you go back to your vinyl records and you look at them, the rock and roll records are 37 minutes long, 39 minutes long, 40 minutes long, 41 minutes long. A long vinyl record is 44. We had 52, almost 52 minutes, and we had to speed up Bat Out of Hell to get it on vinyl. So when 2 Out of 3 was a hit in America, I used to have to turn it off because I thought I sounded like Alvin from the Chipmunks.
Oh, party killer.
Because maybe we can talk all night, but that ain't getting us nowhere. And I'm going, no, I couldn't deal with it.
That's a different career.
Yeah, but Jim, if you go onto Meatloaf Facebook, pinned at the top is a letter from Jim Steinman about how he feels about this record. He thinks this is one of the top 10 records ever made, and he thinks it's the best record we've ever done, which includes Bat Out of Hell.
Cross finger for that will come true.
From his, well, it'll never sell like Bat Out of Hell because records just don't sell like that anymore. But it's spectacular, and it's more like a piece of art than it is another record. It's not.
It starts with the cover, a piece of art as well.
Yeah, but it's not just a record, and neither one of us look at it as a record. We look at it as a work of art. People make records all the time, but I don't think they take the care and they take the time how we discuss this record. And what I wound up doing was, because Jim wrote Who Needs the Young when he was 19, I decided that we did Who Needs the Young, then we had a break because we did some shows, and it was during that period of time that I decided that I would make because I do everything in character, that I would make every character on this record 19 years old. So everybody, and yesterday I had a guy argue with me about, well, why couldn't you just be 68? And I'm going, well, I could have been, but that's not what I chose to do. And that's not my artistic value of this record, was that I was going to be 19. The two hardest ones were Souvenirs and On Train of Love. Everybody's going to hear that song, think it's about a guy trying to get to meet this girl, but it's not. It never mentions the word girl in the whole song. I sing it about a 19-year-old trying to find out who he was. And if you look at the last 3 lines, it says, I don't even know who I am. I don't even know who I am. I don't even know who I am. And it's about a 19-year-old trying to find himself.
So now you know who you are?
No, I haven't figured that out yet. And neither's he. But once, I couldn't sit here and explain all these characters to you, because once it's like when I do a film, and let's take Bob in Fight Club, I couldn't tell you a thing about that character, because they're not me. And you hear the line all the time from people on TV, oh, I can't watch myself in film. That's because they're watching themselves. Mm-hmm. It's like the old answering machines, phone answering machines, and you'd hear your voice, and you go, oh, God, that sounds horrible. Well, that's what it's like for people who play themselves in film. They can't watch it. It's like listening to an old voice operating machine.
And what's about your voice when you hear it?
What?
When you hear your voice singing, is it the same voice that you hear when you're singing? When you hear your voice
they're
on a
characters, so I don't...
Okay.
I've heard, and in fact, I've listened to this record more times accumulatively than I've heard every other record put together. So all the records that came before, I've listened to this record more times than all of those. I think this is...
It's the best thing you can say about it.
Yeah. It's... If you really listen to it, and you really just get in a room and you listen to it, it's hypnotic. And it will put you into a place where you never expect to go.
It's not what you can do in a hurry. You have
No, this was... Jim and I started talking about this about 4 years ago. And deciding what songs we were going to do and how we were going to do it. It took me... I didn't sing for 6 days working on the character of Souvenirs. All I did was just keep looking at the lyrics over and over and over again, trying to find that character, trying to find them. Live on stage, I know who the characters are to all those songs. They're always the same character. They're always in different locations, and they see different things. And on stage, I never listen to myself sing. And I think I'm the only singer in the world that I know of that doesn't listen to himself sing. So I don't know what I did. We recorded every show since '86. And the only way I know what I sang is listen to the tape from the show before. And then I'll go, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Oh man. Oh, golly.
Life isn't fair.
Well, if you listen to yourself, you probably wouldn't do it. But I don't. I'm more into the projection to the very back of the house to get that character back there and to make people, each individual person, feel like there's no one else in the room, that I'm only singing to them. And I've had hundreds of people write me on Facebook and go, it felt like you were only singing to me last night. And I go, that's the plan.
I have to talk about Jim Steinman, and that you didn't talk to each other for a long time. What made it happen?
No.
What was it? There was an interruption.
That's not true. That's not true. That's the media.
Okay.
That is not true. There was only about a 2-year period of time when he was working Bad for Good. I was doing Dead Ringer, and then I toured Dead Ringer, and that was the only time that we didn't talk, but we weren't angry. Jimmy and I have never had an argument. And around '86, we started talking about doing Bat 2. So about 6 years before it came out, we were already starting in, I think it was about 1988, he came out to my house and played me Anything for Love. So it's like on Bat 3, there was stuff that I've told him that happened on Bat 3 that he didn't know anything about. It was all between record companies and managers and them fighting. And what happens is that they file suits against each other, but they can't file suits against each other. It has to be me and Jim. So that's what's put on the paper, so that's what the media picks up. Oh, me and Jim are suing each other. And that didn't happen. That did not happen. Jim and I have been really close for almost 40, since 72. How long is that? I don't know. A long time.
And beautiful is that Ellen is back on this record.
Yeah, and so is Carla. Carla and Ellen.
Yeah.
And as we were picking out the songs, Jimmy gave me pieces of Going All the Way. And so we put it together, and I was singing in falsetto, Going all the way tonight. It's, you know. And then we sent him the arrangement, and he said, that's exactly how I heard it. I said, well, I knew that. Because 99% of the time, artistically, Jimmy and I think alike. It was like the opening to the record, the blues opening. I loved it. Paul Crook said, I don't think it should be on there. I said, send it to Jimmy. Within 30 seconds, Jimmy sent this email back with the letters were huge. Do not take that off. And I knew that.
In the meantime, you had a girl called Marion Raven in your band. I talked to her, I think, 2
No,
years
she
ago.
wasn't in the band. She just did she sat in with us a couple of times. Did a song called It's All Coming Back to Me Now, which wasn't a hit in America, but was a hit. I forgot how many weeks it was #1 in Norway. 27 weeks or something like that in Norway. And it was #1 in Finland and Sweden and top #2 or 3 in England and top 5 Germany. And the song was originally meant for Bat 2. And I wanted to do it as a duet. And Jimmy didn't hear it as a duet. And I said, no. And I eventually broke it down for him and showed him how it was. And he agreed with me. And he said, we got Anything for Love. Let's save it for the next record. Well, this is probably the only time I've ever been really mad at Jim. He gave it to Celine. Gave the song to Celine Dion because Celine said to him, you can produce it. So I forgive him because she let him produce it. If he'd have just given her the song, I don't know. I would have had to hit him upside the head with a bowl of fruit. But he got to produce it and he won a Grammy for it. So that's good.
Do you like the duet scene? Because you did so much.
Duets? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're like they're like movies in the fact that, with the exception of a few, like the Tom Hanks movie where he played the Caruso character where he was by himself, which is really hard to do. In film, you're always interacting with another human. So I really like the interaction of, it can be I did with Sammy Hagar, I've done with Roger Daltrey. It doesn't make, it can be another guy or a girl. And I was going to do something with Freddie, but he passed away. So, but Freddie and I were talking about doing a song together. And so, Sammy and I forgot I've done with somebody else, and I can't remember. John Parr. Mm-hmm. There's more. So people remember the girls, they don't remember the guys.
That's normal, I think.
Yeah. They remember the girls, they don't remember the guys.
There was a rock career long before Rocky Horror. You had bands, and you were playing before The Who, before other bands of those times. Yeah.
I'd gone out to LA to do like everybody else, pursue acting. And that's a tough road, going out there young and going after acting. I mean, very few do it. There's the odds of becoming. I read this the other day. The odds of going and doing a record or being in a film when you're young are 1 in 1,000. So for every person that goes and tries, 999 fail. Mm-hmm. So that's not very many. Better than 1 in a million. But I met somebody, and we put this band together. But that band led to me getting into hair and going to Broadway and doing what I wanted to do, which was to act. So I did 4 Broadways, and I did the first film. I had another film called The Taking of Pelham 123 with Walter Matthau, and the director of the play that I was working on, the director of the movie came to her and talked to her and said, I promise you, I'll have him wrapped every night by 11 o'clock so he can go home, get some sleep. He'll be here at your rehearsal time at 11 o'clock just fine. And Joe Papp at the Public Theater, that's where the play was, agreed to it, said, I agree, it's not a problem. And the director said no, and he said, well, I have to leave it up to the director. So, and then Bat Out of Hell may have never happened because I was cast as Billy Bibbit with Jack Nicholson in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Totally different character.
Yeah. No, but when I auditioned for Billy Bibbit, I auditioned for Marion Doherty and Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas, the producer of the film. And when I finished, Michael Douglas looked at me and he went, you are Billy Bibbit. He said, you are him. And I went, yep. And so they had a writer's strike, and in that period of time, it was a long one, I went and got the Rocky Horror play, and I was waiting for the film, and then Lou Adler said to me, do you want to do the film, Rocky Horror? I was the only one from the LA cast that went, and I said, yeah. And when I was over there, I was just goofing off. I won an enormous amount of money playing blackjack at the Playboy Club. I won like 24,000 pounds, which was more than what they paid me for the movie. I only got $17,000 for the movie and won 24,000 pounds playing blackjack. So I just sent the money home that I got from the movie and stayed and played in London. And during that time, Hal Ashby was directing, and they gave it over to Milos Forman, and he was looking for me. And my agent at the time, who I didn't have very long after that, in fact, the next day I fired him. I went back to see the people at Rocky Horror when I hadn't been in LA but about 15 minutes when I went back. And they said, oh, Milos Forman's looking for you. I called up Milos Forman at midnight. That was a very nervy thing to do. And in that accent, oh, I've been looking for you. Where have you been? I said, well, I'm back. He goes, oh, I cast it today. I was going, oh, no. And I can't remember the name of the guy he gave it to. I know his face. But he got nominated for an Oscar for the role. So, Bat Out of Hell would have never happened had I got that.
So, it was someone
yeah.
over there.
I would have had a good film career. The film career would have been easier than the music career, I can tell you that right now. Because when Bad to Hell came out, I mean, everybody, with the exception of like a very few people, hated it. We had 2 DJs in the country, one named Scott Muni from NEW in New York, biggest station in New York, and Kid Leo, biggest station in Cleveland, who loved the record, and they played it. And then a guy in Boston started playing it, and it slowly took off, and my friends John Belushi and Gilda Radner finally got us on Saturday Night Live next to the last show, and when that happened, that album broke wide open. Yeah, let's go back to Braver Than We Are. That's what, this was, the inspiration for this was taken from the movie by Hitchcock, North by Northwest. Mm-hmm. And if you put, that's Jim in 1976, that's me now, minus, I've lost about 30 pounds since that drawing was done. To put us together, we're Cary Grant. That's the crop duster in North by Northwest. But if you take it literally what it is now, that's me and Jim. And this is the record industry. And Jim and I have been fighting the record industry for all these years. And that's why it's Braver Than We Are.
Okay. Do they know this?
What?
The guys of the record industry, do they know this?
Oh, they're finding out about it. Hmm? They're finding out about it. You know, this record, though, once I did this record's getting the best reviews we ever got. Ever got.
Okay.
Bad to Hell got nothing.
Mm-hmm. As you said that everything is like a movie, it came into my mind when I heard, the first thing that I heard was Paradise by the Dashboard Light. And I said, what's this? The story, and I had pictures, and I knew what was happening there, and it was sex. Or not sex, but it was about sex.
But see, those were your pictures. That's why I hate putting my face on a record, because the records are never about me and Jim. They're always about the listener. And they're meant for the listener. That's why I'll never tell you what any song is about. Jim has never told me why he wrote anything. I've never told him what character I'm using. You know, we may say things to each other like, why don't you change these lines here? I think they could be better. Or he'll say to me, don't hit it so hard, soften it up, or in direction type stuff. But I have no idea what any song, I know what it's about as far as I am concerned, but why he wrote it, I'll never know.
Thank you for having you. All the best to the things you like to do, you love to do, and that what will happen in the future.
Yeah.
And all the best.
Right now,
we are all.
Right now, everything is on. Everything is on. If we were in Vegas, every chip is on one slot on a blackjack table, and we're hoping for 21.
Yes, and because we are all at an age that is dangerous, all the best.
Oh, thank you.
And a long, long life and long, long love.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Till next time.
All right.
Huh?
And goodbye to all your cameras. Bye, cameras.